What's good, everybody? It is your boy Cap back with another 7 Deadly Sin Grand Cross video for you guys. Today we're going to be going over the best anchor units in the game, in my opinion, at this point in time of Grand Cross Global. Not JP, this is Global that we are talking about now. I have started actually playing JP, probably do some videos and summonings and things like that on it within the future without doubt. But getting back into this, again, we're going over the anchor units, the unit that you use as that fourth one, the one that's not in your main team, but that one that comes in if somebody dies. Now I have it set up in PvP and deathmatch. We're going to be talking about the two different ones that are good. One's good for PvP and then others are good for deathmatch alone. And starting off with PvP, because I feel PvP is the one people will probably want to know more about. We got the Green Meliodas, guys. The Green Meliodas, in my opinion, is or was the best anchor unit in the game when it first dropped. Like when the game first released, he was definitely the best anchor unit within this game. You bring this man in, he has good chances of surviving in 2v1 situations and a lot better chances of surviving and doing work than a lot of other units in the game when he is by himself or just with one other unit on the floor or stage, whatever you want to call it. So again, he can do big damage with that counter, can stun enemies with his ult. Like, I've had so many comebacks with him alone when I used to run him as my anchor for PvP. There was one time he even came back from 3v1 situation. Now, I will say this, it's because the dude played it absolutely stupidly, and it was really his fault that he lost. But there were 2v1 situations where I came back, and there was nothing the dude could really do. Like, I had the RNG gods favor me. I would get like a 3-star counter, and no matter what kind of attack really hit me, once I countered with that, they were essentially dead. And then it became a 1v1, and seeing how I was already the only unit on the floor with that Meliodas or the stage, my ult got there fairly quickly because, again, the counter stacked up with the RNG to 3-star, which got my ult gauge up, and then the others just stacked and things like that. So you get your ult fairly quick, you stun the other one, and then boom, basically you won the match. So there was a lot of comebacks that I had with this unit in the past, like I said, when I used to run him as my anchor unit. So without doubt, he is definitely one of the better anchors for PvP still to this day, but not the best anymore, in my opinion. I'm going to go over the best later on. But getting into the next one, guys, these are some units that honestly you may see every now and then, and you might wonder why they're running them. But this is the reason why. The first one, and probably the most common one out of these that I'm about to name, is the red rare Simone. Simone is a fairly good unit in terms of being an anchor. One, when you get him to the UR level, he's not bad at all. Like, the unit in himself is not bad. He's, you know, all these rares and SRs can become URs just like SSRs, and they can transcend to the level 75, things of that nature. So with that, you know, he is not a bad unit. Like I said, he can do some fairly decent damage, has AoE attacks, but he also gives a 15% boost to your team's attack the whole match because of his unique. That is what really makes him a good anchor, in my opinion. It's not necessarily the unit himself, it's what he can do for the team while your main three are out there. Your main three obviously are your most important, the ones that you're really building the team around, and that anchor is someone, you know, that's either usually a good unit that doesn't necessarily fit with that team, and someone that's just going to come in on its own, or someone that is going to be helping that team through the unique, or you have some units that's really only Meliodas that is a really good comeback unit on his own. So again, Simone, to me, without doubt, is definitely a good anchor to run within the PvP of 7 Deadly. But moving on, guys, next up we have the red and the blue Griamore. The SSR versions of Griamore, the red one gives a 15% boost to your HP, and then the blue one gives a 20% boost to your defense. Think about it in terms of the food items with all three of these boosts that we've talked about so far. If you eat a food item for attack, you're getting a 10% boost. Simone gives you more than that with his unique. If you eat a HP item, you're getting 10% boost. Red Griamore gives you more of that with his unique. If you eat a defensive item, you do get 20%, which is the exact same the blue Griamore gives you. But again, it's basically like having an additional food item in terms of unique on your anchor unit, and it just makes your main team that much stronger. Now, Getting into the next unit that I have, guys, we have the Green Gowther, the SSR Gowther. He gives, or basically he doesn't give your team anything, but he minuses the enemy's defense by 15%. So that negation to their defense definitely does come clutch. Imagine, you know, having that minus 15% plus you put on like an attack boost item or something along those lines. They're going to be taking a lot of damage and you're going to be doing big damage because of that. So that Gowther, without doubt, for that reason, is another good anchor unit to run. And the last one that has a PvP exclusive unique like this that is really helpful to the team would be the Rare Taizo. He basically negates the damage that you take by 20%. He doesn't boost your defense or anything like that by 20%. He just negates damage by 20%, which honestly I would assume is better, considering there's things like pierce rate and all that stuff within this game. Defense does not come into effect when, well, defense is affected by pierce rate, I should say. Like, pierce rate is what ignores defense. So if you're just reducing the damage dealt, I feel like that would be more effective against things like pierce rate and stuff like that. So that would probably even be better than a defensive boost as a unique skill in your anchor position. Now, the best PvP anchor in this game, without doubt, it's unquestionable in my opinion, is Merlin. Merlin is just that one ult gauge. It doesn't sound like much maybe when you really just say it. You know, you got to get 5 to get your ultimate. But that one ult gauge to your team, to everybody on your team at the start of the battle, is absolutely insane. And then, of course, she's not a bad unit in her own right with her barrier. The fact that her regular attack can take away ult gauges as well. She's not a bad unit at all. And she is the unit that is necessary if you are going to ult rush. Ult rush is essentially having her as an anchor or her on your team, and then also using an apple pie item or something like that, one of the food items that give you a +1 ult gauge as well. So what you're looking at if you do that is not only do you have +1 from her unique, +1 from the food, but potentially a +1 if you go second as well, because most people do use food items that will boost their attack or things like that, and that enhances their CC. When you use an ultimate gauge item, it does not enhance your CC at all, and a lot of times with that, unless your CC is just insanely high compared to others, you will be going second in that match and starting out with 3 ultimate gauges, to where basically after that first turn, 2 of your teammates are likely to be able to have their ult ready to go, which again is just absolutely insane. So because Merlin gives that +1 to the ult gauge of everybody on the team, and she's honestly not a bad unit in her own right, she is definitely to me the best PvP anchor unit within this game, and also is an good anchor unit, you know, for story or just for regular missions and things like that. When you're trying to knock them out quick, the faster you get your ults, the faster you're going to be able to finish it easily, especially if you use a team in story or just in regular missions that has AoE type of ults. You get 2 ults with them right away, boom, that's basically mission over. So again, she's definitely good for that as well, and for some death matches, the Hallux Demon and the Great Wing Demon, I feel she's not a bad unit to run as the anchor because of the simple fact that she will give you that +1 ult gauge early on. It doesn't really come in effect later on in the match, but if she does come in, if one of your units do die, she is not a bad unit for either of those raids right there. So with that being said, let's move on to the actual deathmatch exclusive units. Like, these units are only ones that are good in deathmatch alone. And starting out, guys, we have Golgius. Golgius gives you a 15% boost to your damage dealt, not a 15% boost to your attack, but a 15% boost to the actual damage being dealt. So I feel again that is better because that takes into account your pierce rate, stuff like that. So I feel that is probably a better boost than the actual attack being boosted itself. Now, next up we have Ruin. Ruin gives you a damage decrease by 20%, damage taken decrease by 20%, I should say. And that's obviously really good for death matches because they do big damage to you, especially when you get into like the extreme and stuff like that. So that's definitely good without doubt. But then the last deathmatch exclusive unique that we have right now in the game, we got Kayn, which gives you an attack bonus by 10%. Kayn is probably a better unit than Golgius in himself. especially for some of the death matches like the Halix Demon, things like that, considering he can ignite. But then at the same time, he only gives you an attack of 10% boosted compared to that 15% damage boost that Golgius will give. So unless you expect one of your units to die in a deathmatch, I would probably say run Golgius if you're looking to enhance your damage between those two units. But those are all the units within the game, guys, that do have a unique that actually will help the rest of your team out. A lot of characters' uniques are kind of selfish or even race exclusive. I will say there are some race exclusive uniques that will definitely help your team, but it's only for certain races. Like Hauser has a unique, I forget what it increases exactly. I believe it might be 8% attack or something like that, but it's basically to all human allies. Arthur has something very similar. I believe he boosts 15% HP to all human allies. Then you got some characters on the fairy side, the Hellbram, not the Hellbram, but the King, the Blue King, and the Elaine both have a boost to fairy allies like attack or HP or something along those lines. So there are units like that, but I don't believe there's enough of them and enough of their race in the game that are like high tier, I guess you could say, to where you would really want to run a team based off of those uniques and trying to get the most unique bonus possible for them. Like Hauser and Arthur both are red cards, unless you run them with like a Gowther or something along those lines. I really don't see that team working. And then again, Gowther doesn't necessarily get any bonus from their unique, seeing how he's not human. So again, if you want to run like a full human or full fairy team, I really don't see that working in terms of PvP at this point in time. So that's why I didn't really go over those as of right now. Now in the future, they may become more prominent and more useful for that in particular reason, with more fairy units and more more human units coming out and potentially having those uniques and being a very good unit as well. Like the Hauser and the Arthur, both are good units, but both are red units, and to put a full team of humans around them just would not work at this moment in time. But all in all, man, let me know what you guys think about these uniques. Did you know that uniques would work while they were in the anchor position? And did you know that some of these rares were honestly this good as uniques as well? Let me know your thoughts on all of it, and if you will be changing who your anchor unit is at the same time down below in the comments. But till next time, man, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and as always, hope you have a good day. Peace, y'all.